All right, we're live. Hello, hello, hello. Well, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another Rise and Ride. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. Mr. J, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Pastor Burns. I'm doing good, doing
Oh
real
man, you
good.
looking all excited tonight? What you got a hot date with your wife or something?
No, I got some dinner waiting for me.
Oh, you got some.
I got some good dinner waiting for me.
Well, I guess good dinner is something to be excited about. Um, yes, and so how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's good to get back. It's good to talk. It's good to finish off and get everybody situated.
Okay, when you say good back, what you mean? You been out of town?
Oh, I'm always out of town. Oh my goodness. If I had to say how many times I'm out of town and in town, man, I think I'm out of town more than I'm in town.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
uh,
somebody got to do it. It might as well be you, right?
if somebody has to do it, somebody has to do it. It got to be me.
But listen, I feel like I've been gone for a month of Sundays. It seems like it's been a while since I've been here with you all, and I only missed one. And then last week we had our Good Friday service, and so I pray everybody had a great Good Friday as well as a great Easter Sunday. And then so now we are back. And the last time we were here, it was March, and now it is April.
Yes, April.
Yeah, can you believe how quickly time is flying?
Whew, it seemed like just a couple of weeks ago it was January. So
Yeah, yesterday it felt like January. Was it yesterday we got that snow yesterday?
yeah, it was yesterday. It
So
was
yesterday
yesterday.
it felt like January, huh? Well, listen, I am excited to be back with you all, and I did miss uh, our Rise and Thrive, but you all held it down as
Yes.
you normally would. And I have a couple of projects I've been working on, and it kind of been taking me a little further over my schedule. But I got some exciting things coming up, and I'll be sharing them in the days to come as we expand to the Rise and Thrive brand. And so we're going to be doing some other things that's really exciting. So I'm really excited about what's getting ready to happen. And so we've been talking about several things, but I wanted to acknowledge April is Financial Literacy Month.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And so I was looking up some things so that I was, to be kind of informed of what that's all about. And so they said financial literacy is the possession of skills, knowledge, and behavior that allows an individual to make informed decisions. And so, Financial Literacy Month is about inquiring or sharpening your skills, knowledge, or behavior so that you can make better decisions. And so they said that there was 4 areas or 5 areas or components when it comes to financial literacy, and that is earn, spend, save, invest, borrow, and protect. And so when I saw that, I was like, that's what we've been teaching people, ain't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
We can say we've been Financial Fridays has been financial literacy year because we've been teaching people how to earn, spend, save, invest. We ain't talk a lot about borrowing, but we did talk about protecting. And so it's so important that we not just allow our lives to go, merrily, 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 gently down the stream, but that we be more intentional. I read this one article that talked about the 4 main components, not components, but the main financial literacy parts. and they said that it was debt, budgeting, saving, and investing. And I think that we've been really hovering around those things when we talked about the different ways of saving our monies. We talked about the different types of investments. We definitely talked about budgeting, and we're gonna have to get back to that. So we won't do that tonight, but in the next couple of, we're gonna have to go back to checking in with people and see where they are. You know, we started out with a budget, and we gave them a lot of different ways to save money. And so now we are in, let's see, month number 4.
Yeah.
So we've been working the process for 4 months. And so I would love to hear some testimonies to see how people have been doing better or what they've been able to accomplish. And so we'll look to set that up going forward. And so let's see who we got on with us tonight. We have Minister Mark is on with us tonight.
Oh yeah.
Has some of his grandbabies in town, and so he's been missing in action, enjoying the grandbabies. And so last week, let's do a recap of not last week, but the last time that we were
Yes.
on Financial Friday. Let's do a recap, and then let's build on that and move forward.
Okay, will do. So, like always, I want to thank everybody for coming in here, and good evening to all my grinders. So, as we recap, the biggest things we want to take away are, if you got your notebooks ready, one, the race just got started. You're opening up your business. So, what are some key things that you want to go over? One of those things are ideal generation, or idea generating and research. With that, I want to talk about one, how do you get an idea? I said the simplest way to get an idea is to do what you already been doing and make improvements on what you do. If every day you wake up and you like, you know what, it should be a new handle that comes along with my cup. Cool. Now you have an idea that you can generate. Or you want to have an idea of something that would improve what is already existing, like the new hover car or hydrogen engines. The way we generate ideas is typically keep it within your wheelhouse and improve on what you already have. Following that is market analysis and planning. So how that works is that once you have a really good idea, you think your idea is good enough, then you do a focus group, you check it out to see if somebody has already produced that item, if that item even exists, or if you have the means in order to do it and you have the backing to get it done and to have some interest, because it may be a good idea for you, but it may not have any interest for anybody else. So that's what you want to do, market analysis and research. Once you get past that level, that step, you want to form a structure, whether it's an LLC inside of an S Corp or an S Corp by itself, a corporation, a C Corp, or a partnership. But what you want to do, you want to form another legal entity. That legal entity is what's going to protect you from liability that may be coming your way. Plus, it puts a barrier between your personal assets and the business that you're about to produce. Next is financial planning. This is something that we've been talking about for quite some time. So this is how it comes into play. Since November, since the formula was given, if you've been putting 20% down, now you have a place to put all that money that you've been saving up. With financially planning, you're now distributing that money that was saved up to go towards the vision that you have or the investment that you want to invest in. By having a plan, now you have a way to project that money. Don't do it just yet. Remember, this is just financial planning. So that was the next level. Moving from there is brand development. And this is where we stopped off at. Brand development is how you push yourself to the industry. Like myself, my brand that I push towards everybody is 3 keys. All of my companies that I own or operate or become the owner of, they all wear the 3 keys brand. That's how people know who you are or who that company will represent. Just like Kodak or Facebook or Twitter or X now, all those companies have a brand. Your brand needs to show an image of what they can expect from your company. Like the Golden Arches, the Burger King, Big King, or the Clown, all of these are brand placements. So you want to make sure you develop your brand. And that puts us up to where we are right now.
All right, all right. No. There's a couple of things. A lot of times I've always came up with great ideas, believe it or not. And just like when, being an illustrator, I've always had that kind of mindset. And so I remember uh, back when I used to work on cars that I talked about putting another door on the car, on the truck, pickup truck. I had a pickup truck, and you had to move your seat up in order to put things behind there. And I thought about putting a door on there, a little half door that you can open and put your stuff in there. Because in a pickup truck, you didn't have a trunk because it was wide open in the back. And I had that for a couple of years, several years, and then all of a sudden they came out with that, you know. And I had multiple other ideas like that. And one of the things that I'm challenged with when it comes to having ideas is somebody stealing it. And so, um, how do you go to that next step with an idea without a person fearing that somebody gonna steal it? And then the other part of that was people would you'll get your patent, but people will sit on your patent until it expires. And then instead of them paying you for the idea, they just wait for it to expire. Then they take the idea because it becomes, kind of open market kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so as a result of it, I constantly come up with different ideas, but I be kind of reluctant because, I remember one of our members came up with an idea for baby oil, and it was I think it was like maybe a baby oil cream or something. And I encouraged them to, write the company, and they wrote the company, and the company said that they was not interested in it. And then a short time after that, it came on the market, you know. And so I'm just saying, because people steal your ideas, or because they don't want to legally obtain the idea, or because they don't want to pay for it, you put that out there, and then, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
So how do you avoid that? How do you move forward with that?
I got a question for you.
Hmm.
This is one of them touchy questions.
Okay.
Are we trying to win or are we trying not to lose?
Well, we're trying to win, but how many
Okay.
times do you give away your idea before you know?
I got a question for you.
All right.
Real quick question. Back in the early 1900s, it
Hmm.
was a group of black people that made a lot of stuff. They had a lot of things going for them, but they lived in a country called America, and a lot of their ideas was being stolen, taken, or misused by another group of people.
Okay.
Did that stop those people from creating ideas? No. Did
No.
it stop those people from creating more inventions? No. Because in due time, they received their gratification. But was it in the time that they would like? No. But was these people trying not to lose, or was they trying to win?
Okay.
The street light. The reason why we have three colors and not two is because somebody saw it and was like, "Hey, you know what? We need to get we need to have a third street light to slow everybody down."
Mhm.
That's the yellow street light that was invented by an African American inventor. The reason why we have a thing we call the pipe wrench that comes in multiple different sizes, right? A black person created the pipe wrench. That's why it was commonly referred to as a monkey wrench, because a black person actually created it. But we use the pipe wrench for a multiplicity of things.
Yeah.
These are people who are not trying not to lose. They see a need and they're going for it. So I can tell you from a whole lot of experiences that when you're trying to win, how does that look? It looked like you may be falling forward. It looked like somebody may try to steal your idea. But does that stop you? A person with many ideas has many ideas.
Okay.
How about, what if you had a really good idea and you said, hey, family, my idea is so good that when I make it, you guys are going to be groveling at my feet. And they said, even your mom and dad? And you was like, yeah, mom and dad, everybody going to grovel at my feet. But you said that to the wrong group of people. So they beat you up and they stole your clothes and then they sold you into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Does that stop your idea? No. They unwillingly did what God already planned for you to do. So now when you get into your higher position, you may be saying to them, what y'all did was evil, but it was a plan that God had so I can save my brothers and sisters. Because we never know what may happen. But I'm telling you, you have to shoot to win.
Okay.
So you have tons of ideas, tons of them. Shoot those ideas. That's the reason why we have patents. Hey, guess what? I got a good idea. This is the formula for the oil. Mm-hmm. And then when that company comes out and they have another form of oil, you can say, hey, according to this patent, you guys owe me. According to this letter that I sent you, this is the evidence I'm putting forward to. Now, does that mean that you're going to get $8.9 million as that big company is getting? No. But if I get a check for $500,000 or I get a check for $30,000 for my idea, not that I produced it or won it or I marketed it, it was just that I was the one who came with the idea. Now, I'm not telling you not to go for it, just the opposite. I'm telling you and whoever can hear me, go for it. There's a whole lot of crabs in a barrel. And there's a whole lot of people that don't want to see you do well. And then on top of that, you got haters on the sideline who's going to secretly hate and some who going to openly hate. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, outside of our culture, we have another group of people still that may be going against you.
Okay.
And I want you to always pursue to win.
Okay.
So the goal is to set yourself up to win.
So are you saying that person with the idea that they just keep generating the ideas and hopefully one of them is going to hit one day?
Most inventors generate ideas that hopefully one will hit.
Okay. And then the other thing you talked about is marketing. When you talk about marketing, now marketing, when you marketing whatever you might be marketing is an art form. And so for the average person, they may go by what they see being done, but not necessarily be doing the right things as far as to bring the results that they want. So when you're talking about marketing, what would you say a person who is a freshman, if you will, when it comes to marketing?
If you're just getting started, and I do mean just getting started, I would suggest that you do what someone told me to do. Take a picture of what you're doing. You don't have to say any words. You don't gotta put a whole lot of thought into it. If you have an idea, take a picture of your idea. What do I mean by that? If you think a new sky glide is gonna help, then draw what the new sky glider is gonna look like. Take a picture and say, hey, that's what the new sky glider is gonna look like. If you think cars can fly, then make a drawing of what you think a flying car looks like. Mm-hmm. You can't be afraid that someone's going to take your idea, because being afraid like that prohibits you from moving forward. You can have an idea that could save the world. You can have an idea that could revolutionize the way we do things. You could have an idea that you sat on and that even though you could help, you didn't because of fear that someone will take your idea. If
So
that's the case, where do you go?
so you're back on the idea generator. I'm moving forward to the next thing as far as marketing that idea. So now
Oh,
we've gotten past the fact that if you got an idea, you keep generating your ideas, and and at some point one a hit. And so when we talk about now marketing that idea, so you got this idea, you come up with whatever it is. When it comes to marketing it, you know.
the reason why I say that because I say it all starts off with a photo.
Mhm,
So if you don't know anything else, do a photo. If your idea has movements, do a video.
mhm,
If you got something to say, do a 2 minute spiel. If you're just getting started, there's a lot of platforms. And when I say a lot, I mean there's a ton of platforms. Instagram, Twitter or X, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, LinkedIn, what's and there's probably a new one coming out just tomorrow, right? There's a ton of platforms that you can utilize to push your idea. And even if you're not doing that much marketing, talk to your friends, your family. Some people talk to your coworkers.
mhm.
You can just hit the street and talk to regular people. People are always up for a good conversation. And typically, if you got a good idea that can improve somebody's life, they may want to be interested in it. That's the best way to market if you're a beginner, because
Okay.
you may be scared. So for those who are more apprehensive for person to person communication, go online, and that way you're putting it out there, and if whoever sees, or you can tell people, hey, I got this video on YouTube, right? Somebody that you trust, they can see what you're doing and they can give you feedback, or the person can make it public and they're telling people, and then also other people are telling people.
Okay.
On top of that, you can boost all your pages on a lot of social platform sites. It may cost a little bit of money, but boosting your viewership allows more people to see what you got and allows more people the possibility of commenting on what you have.
All right. And then the last thing, based on the review, is the different um, types of businesses or uh, corporations that you can have. You talked about the LLC, the S corp, and the different. Um, um, what would you call them? The different what?
Types of companies or type of financial backings.
Or
I
the
think that's a
different
better way to
types
put it.
of
Yeah.
companies. So um, I heard you say the last time we were on, as far as uh, those having payments, like annual payments and things of that sort. And then I heard you talk about how the different companies should be based on, either you said based on what you're doing or something along that manner.
What you will do. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you got it.
And so, how important is that? To make sure that you label your company right.
Hmm. I think it's important to a more senior person is important,
Mhm,
but to a novice person it's probably not as important as to getting started. The If you're senior, you typically want to make sure that you're reaching a bigger audience.
mhm,
When you're just getting started, the goal isn't to reach a bigger audience. The goal is simply to reach an audience.
okay.
And then once you become more seasoned, and this is where experience kicks in. Now you may start off with a basic LLC,
Mhm,
because that allows you more flexibility, and then it also allows you to be able to maneuver and you can make certain adjustments. As you get more senior, as you get more people, you may say, hey, you know what, I like this LLC, but now I need a C corp because I need to make sure what I'm doing has a board of directors who can help me and guide the company into the right direction. So you still have an LLC. It's just as you get as you progress further on, you may go with a corporation versus the LLC. A corporation has more tax benefits and it is structured differently, but it also does take a little bit more time to get started.
Okay.
And that's just the difference of progression.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I kind of highlighted those things from the last one so that we can, as we go forth, we can make sure that, we are really locking in, because I know those are concerns, that I've heard from people. And so voicing them. So as we go forward to our part two, what things are we going to cover tonight?
Uh, what we're covering tonight is going to be we'll be covering. We did. I'm going to briefly touch on brand development because we left off on that. Product and service development, how to develop your service or your product, how to set up your operations. I think that is very important. Even if you're a sole proprietor, or you have many employees, or you have a few employees, the setting up your operation is crucial to how you develop.
Okay.
Next, I'll be talking about marketing and sales strategies. So things that you can do, or things that you can apply yourself to in order to make your business bigger than what it is, or at least have your business on a good trajectory of growth.
All right.
Then we'll talk about the actual launching and growth of the business. So we're out of the strategy. Now we're talking about how do you actually implement that. And lastly is customer service and retention. And that's really big because if you sell 1 million, but you can't retain anybody, you're working that much harder versus if you have a solid 20 to 30 people, you can always grow from there.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a good place to start this second half. And I think that's going to be some great information. So let's go ahead and check them on off our list.
All right, will do. Like all things, I would like to say thank you, everybody, to Rise and Thrive. I'm going to skip past a lot of the stuff, and we're going to start with April is Financial Literacy Month. So I hope everyone has all of your notebooks and ready. So we're going to get into it. The Health Summit is April 6th at 10 o'clock. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we'll be doing a full health summit at Jericho Church Without Walls, 8086 North 76th Street. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Want to give a good shout out. Now let's go into, I'm going to go 2 back for brand development. Like I was saying, your brand is who you are to a world. So before they see you or your ideas or your company, your brand must mean something. So take a little bit of time or take a lot of time, but don't take all the time. Think of an idea, think of an image, think of a strategy, put all those together and come up with an image or a brand. Like Rise and Thrive, like Jericho Church Without Walls, or like the 3 Keys. You put what you are representing out there, and then you create an image around it. Okay, and then that will be what represents your presence on all of the platforms you go on.
So when you talk about branding, or creating, whatever your brand that you're going to be known by, you're saying when it comes to designing, you know, that memorable or impactful identity. How do you choose like the colors and the messaging and things of that sort?
That is a fun one. So
I
some
mean,
people choose. The reason I say that's a fun one is because I choose based on what I've been through, and each color has a representation, but it represents something personal to me. However, someone can choose what do the color pink means, or what gold means, or black or blue. So those colors must have a meaningful impact. So everything goes with a story. Because when you see your emblem, it should have a story. When you tell it, the emblem has a story. So when I say emblem, I do mean logo, so everybody can be on the same page. So when you say, hey, this is my logo, when you present it, whether you put it on a business card or a social media website, that logo must represent your entire company. So
Okay.
when it comes to what do you pick, what do you choose, all those things are dependent upon the person. I can only give a suggestion and say make sure it's meaningful. Don't
Yeah.
choose AI colors because the AI picked it out for you. Choose something that works for you, that's meaningful to you, and that you can elaborate on. Because people do ask questions.
Okay. But is it a place, or like when they talk about restaurants, you oftentimes see different types of colors in restaurants. I don't know if it's orange and yellows or something like that. And they said because when that makes you eat more or something like that. I don't know. And so I'm saying, when I watch news programs, a lot of times I see blues, you know, and so I don't know if there's, certain colors based on what you're doing or what you're attracting, but being able to make sure that you're not just randomly picking something and putting it out there, but that there's some type of rhyme or reason to, you know, whatever the color scheme that you're using with your logo. Do you know anything about that, or have you heard that before?
I have heard that some corporations base their ideas off colors.
Mhm.
But so I don't want to tell people to do what bigger companies are doing because some of that stuff is for psychological reasons. So they pick different colors. Like a lot of companies try to go with blue because blue has a semblance that make you giddy or happy. Or they go with green because green has the most shades that your eyes can pick up on. I haven't heard about orange though, but I do know that colors have a psychological tendency for our moods. So different moods are enhanced or heightened because of the color that we see.
Okay. So when you
However, oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. But when it comes to starting off your company, a color is not as important as making the logo or the emblem.
Okay. And so when you talk about your domain name and setting up your website,
Yeah.
is there any company better than another company, or just they are, all companies are pretty much equal?
When it comes to that, each company is pretty much equal. Uh, what you want to look for is a reliable company that you can Google pretty much. There are some bad companies out there, but the vast majority are pretty decent. Remember the whatever domain, because I'm not getting paid to promote anybody, so I'm not saying no names. What I can, what I can tell you is that the domain that you pick to be hosted, if they're not doing anything above hosting your domain, then I wouldn't put a lot of emphasis on that domain company.
Okay.
The now the objective of a name that I have seen is the shorter name the better. Because the name of my company is Jehovah Lord Jesus Properties LLC. You try to type that into a URL, or is a better way to do it is jljpus.com. Which
Okay.
one is easier to remember? So when it comes to domain names, I can tell you a shorter domain name is more effective than a longer domain name if you want people to type it out and then go to your website.
Okay. And then the last one, that we talked about here was, you know your presence on social media,
Yeah.
and that's platforms relative to your target audience. And I struggle with that, when it comes to social media. When it comes to, okay, you say your target audience, so how do one determine their target audience? Are you talking about,
Hmm.
like age and gender, or are you talking about, the people who likes your product, or what when you say, um, establishing a presence on social media platform relative to your target audience.
Yes. The reason why I'm talking about that is because you want people who want you. So as you're getting started, anyone that finds your content pleasable,
Hmm.
that's your target audience. I have a target audience that I am looking for. So typically, when I do Instagram posts or I do Facebook posts, I'm looking for people who one needs a property manager or those who have been hurt by a property manager. That's my target audience.
All right.
But by doing that, I have collected those who like a good property manager and those who have been hurt by property managers. So I can tell you that if your content is in line with what you are producing, then those who want to see you or talk to you, they will find you eventually. Now, I'm not paying to boost my ads. So everything I'm doing is a little bit slower because I'm not paying to get it boosted. I will in the future, but remember, I'm still making sure that I have enough content so when people do come, they can they can actually get a whole wealth of information just off the content.
Okay. All right. Very good. Let's move on a little further. So we talked about design and logos and
Yeah.
colors. We talked about domain names and um, websites, and we talked about social media platforms and your target audience. Uh, let's go down a little further.
Okay. Now we're going to go down to product and services. So now you have an idea. You ask a lot of people. You put a company together. You put the legalness. You got your financial. You got your logo or your emblem, and now comes the product.
Hmm.
So now your idea must come into application. So if you have a really good service that you do, or you have a really good product that you sell, now is the time to get it out there, to produce it, to talk about it, to let people know, hey, this is what I do, and I'm the best at it, or I'm really good at it, or I am the one I'm a game changer in this environment. By doing that, that's the product that you are developing, and you're letting people know, or you're showcasing how good you are.
Okay.
Excuse me. And this is where trademarks come in. This is where patent comes in. This is where copyrights come in. Because when you're really good at what you do, you want to make sure you protect those things. So if you have a special product that does something that no one else has ever done before, you want to make sure that you patent not just that variation, but you try to patent every variation to that.
Mhm.
So if they want to do anything close to you, they at least got to pay you something. And then after I think it's 10 to 15 years, then the copycats can come out, or the or those who will duplicate what you're doing. But you'll have about 10 to 15 years free on the market.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because that's legally you have 10 to 15 years. However, you can always come up with a new patent because remember, it's your patent. So
Hmm.
you can come up with a new patent to your original patent, which you can push out for another 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
So I don't want to make it more stringent on just 10 years. You can push it out to how many other designs you can come up with for that patent. But just remember, if it's something that's really, really well received, something that's very good, or a product that more than you can offer or receive, there will be more competitors out there finding another way of doing what you do.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. Let's continue. So now, when you talk about testing and redefining, um, tell us what you're talking about.
Okay. So when you produce something, you remember the people that you're talking to are for your market. But when you're testing and redefining, you're putting a product out there and people are utilizing it and they're telling you, hey, guess what? Like when Swiffer came out or the knockoffs of Switcher came out, it was like, hey, your sprayer doesn't accept all types of detergent. Okay, cool. So now you take it back, and then the next thing you produce, it has the ability to shoot out every type of detergent you have in there. Because while you're producing a product, somebody may see something else. I produced when I was producing this. Now it's more of a standard. But I had a task list that I was doing. Boom, boom, boom. This is how I did 25 items every single day.
Okay.
An associate of mine, he looked at that and he took it and he made an adjustment to the way the system functioned and the way in which it processed. I was like, man, that's amazing. And then I made that the way that I do it across the board. And that's what I'm talking about. How do you refine? How do you That's the test and refining, because I'm putting it out there for customers, but my feedback wasn't coming in as fast.
Okay.
Somebody saw that and they just commented, "Hey, why don't you do this?" And I was like, "That's a good idea." And it was just a regular person. It wasn't even a customer, I don't believe. It was just a person who saw the way that my responses was coming in. And now I can do 24 to 48 hour responses just based on how someone perceived what I was doing and
Right.
they gave me a compliment.
Okay.
So that's how you're always redefining your product. Remember, your stuff is like concrete. It's never matured. It's always curing. It's always curing. It's always curing. Because if you become stagnant, you do go out of business because of the product that you sell is going to be outdated. So you always got to be in the position and in the mindset of making your product better every single, not even year. Even if you can make it better on every single case, so you make it the best you can with the money that you have.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, though. I mean, I don't know how fast a person would be able to continue to refine and reproduce, but I do get that you want to make sure that you're able, from a longevity standpoint, that you don't want to be like a one hit wonder. You just you show up one day and then the next day you obsolete. So
Yeah.
you definitely want to be able to stay on top of your game. Now, when you talk about considering intellectual property protection, you know, um, that's a big one right there.
Yes.
A lot of times we're saying things or producing things for things without thinking about, you know, the things that we are producing as intellectual property. And so when you talk about intellectual property, tell us what you mean.
Okay. So I want to do test and feedback, and I'm gonna come right back into consider intellectual property. So when it comes to testing and feedback, this is not a minute by minute type of thing. Testing and feedback could be, we produced this product this year, and now 2 years later, hey, new and improved, right? That has happened. So those are the things that I talk about. It's not just a one time, it's a continuous improvement. So you wait until you get enough money and then you produce the new item. When we talk about intellectual property, this is where patents, trademarks, copyrights, all those things come in a really big value. So, what I was talking about earlier is that when you produce something, you want to make sure that you're not just patenting that one variation, but that you actually, so if you made one special ring, right? You made a ring, but the ring you made does a special thing that no other ring does.
Hmm.
So you not only patent that one ring, you also patent different variations of that ring. Now you're only using this one variation, but you want to patent all of these other variations, and that's so you can't have a lot of knockoffs come in and try to take what you already have or jump in on your market. That's patents. When you talk about copywriting, remember that person that you was talking about gave the soap idea to the big company.
Yeah.
Okay, that person could have copywritten that idea and then sold that idea. And even though they said no, that's where the copyright comes in. Hey, guess what? I've already produced it. This is the day I produced it. This is what I did. This is when I gave it to you. You told me no. And then here is where you're producing what I've already told you. I already showed you what I'm doing. And then that's when you go into legal ramifications so you can recoup the money that you had already. When we talk about trademark, remember a Rolex is a Rolex for a reason. And the reason why the Rolex is a Rolex is because Rolexes have knockoffs. How do you tell a knockoff Rolex? Because it ticks and it doesn't roll. Those are trademarks that people understand. So when you see the Rolex symbol, you know it's a Rolex. When a shoe that is very, a shoe that everyone, that collectors really do like, but it also has a lot of fakes in it. It is the Jordan or the Air Jordan. Michael Jordan, number 8, number 1, number 10, number 20, 58, 64, right? He has a lot of different shoe lines. But people are knocking off these shoes. How are they doing that? Easy. It's because every fake Jordan is taking that trademark Jordan symbol and they're morphing it because they put it on a bad product. And that's where trademark comes in. So if you're out there and you have a product and your product is selling, it's doing well, it's doing really good, and you have all of these cheap knockoffs coming into play, that's where you can come in and say, hey, guess what? That's a knockoff. This is the trademark. This is the absolute. This is what the best looks like. And then you can go against those knockoffs and actually pursue legal ramifications for all of those knockoffs.
Okay. Now, a lot of times, we talk about different things like the Rolex. I didn't realize the Rolex rolled versus tick. That's the word. But when you see them, a lot of them, even like with the Jordans, I was going to get some at one point, and I showed my son the ones that I was going to get, and he told me, "No, Dad, those not real. Those are knockoffs." And so, for the average person like myself, I wouldn't be able to, unless somebody showed me what to look for, I wouldn't necessarily know. And so, being able to understand whatever that particular brand is, or even your own brand, being able to know whatever those distinctions are, so that you're able to, um, hone in on the ones that's not. A lot of times, I would imagine that they probably make so much money on the knockoff Rolex and the knockoff Jordans that whatever legal battles that they have is probably is minimum to how much money they're making.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, think about it. It was a shoe company. I'm not going to say their name, but it was Let's Pay Shoes, right?
Okay.
And they had a lot of shoes there that looked like knockoffs. So everything you could find at Foot Locker, at other shoe companies, you went to Let's Pay Shoes and you found a shoe that was similar in look and design. Now, beyond that, right? Because they were obvious. You have a lot of street personnel or a lot of sidewalk hustlers that sell Gucci for
Right.
pennies on a dollar. They sell Movadas for pennies on a dollar, and you can ask, how are you selling these things? Oh no, don't worry, they're 100% legit. I mean, you kind of get what you paid for.
Yeah.
If you ever see a person on the street telling you a $3,000 watch for $10 or for $200, I mean, it's a reason why we had you back in the day. Now I'm kind of dating myself. We used to wear those little gold chains, but they leave a green mark when you take them off.
Yeah.
Remember that? And they, ooh, this is so cool. And you was like, dude, don't take it off your neck right now. Why? Get that big old green ring on the back of your neck. Man, no, this 18 karat pure gold. I mean, the reason why we laugh at that is because when you grow up, you know that that's not real gold.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I mean, you're kind of young. We don't have enough money, but it looked nice and it looked like it's just about gold. So we make that investment. The same is true with knockoffs. If I sell a bunch of knockoff Movadas or knockoff Rolexes, guess what? I'm still going to be able to eat that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be able to go about and pay my bills. So even though I may get caught, I may not because it's risky. But the likelihood of people buying a Rolex from a person on the street and it being real, I mean,
Yeah,
some of this stuff is more some of this stuff is more understandable. That what's the likelihood that you're gonna find real diamonds on a watch that costs about $4,000 from a guy who's selling it to you on the street? What's the likelihood that those diamonds are real? If they was, couldn't he just sell the real diamonds off the watch and be living good?
yeah,
I mean, the presidential Rolex is what, like 56, anywhere from 35 to $56,000, but you're on the street selling it for $300. I mean, what are you? What is the real point you're getting at? I'm telling you that people sell knockoffs.
sure.
Just people sell, and that's the point. The point is people will sell knockoffs. So if you got a really good thing, and I mean make it, you got a really good thing, somebody probably gonna try to sell a knockoff of it. And the reason for that is because it's really good and people want it. So
Mm,
somebody is going to try to work around that to give other people a knockoff version of
okay.
that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's definitely a market for it. So
Yeah.
there's people who want whether it be a Rolex or whatever the knockoff is, and they know that they can't afford it.
Yeah.
But because in most cases, you don't really know the difference. For the average person, that it gives that person that illusion that they have one or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's a lot of basketball players. I think they had an interview with a basketball player, and he said, "Yeah, I made millions, but I wore cubics the whole time." So
Yeah.
he had cubic zirconias in his ear. He had necklaces that was blinged all out, and it was all cubic zirconias.
Mhm.
I mean, are you blaming him? No. He said, I already had the status. I had the money. I'm just not going to spend that on my jewelry.
Right.
And he had a valid point. I don't have to spend this on my jewelry.
Hmm.
Why? Because there's somebody going to come in there with a hammer and break up all of his jewelry to be like, oh, look, it's not a diamond. It's a cubic zirconia. No. But is that the look that he wanted? I mean, like I am not against anybody who like a fancy look or a flashy look. I guess that's a better way to put it. I think that can look nice in its own arena. So if you're a basketball player and you're making six figures and seven figures and eight figures and a whole lot of figures that I can't even count, and you want to wear a bunch of flashy jewelry, go ahead. If you want to wear a bunch of flashy jewelry and not spend a lot of money on it, go ahead. You have that ability to do that. No one is stopping you. It's just that sometimes it can get a bad or negative light because people are doing that. So I'm giving you the street hustler, but I'm also giving you, if you went to a jewelry store and you didn't want the diamond, you want the cubic, they can make a whole necklace that look real nice, but it's a cubic zirconias, which are about 1/3 to 1/5 of the price
Yeah.
of a diamond.
Yeah. And I get that. And even like with your, you know, professional people or, like you said, basketball players, but whether it be them or rappers or, anyone, movie stars or whatever, when you see it on them, you're going to assume that it's real anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, because you know that they have it, and so and some of those things, just like I was saying with the Rolex or the Michael Jordan shoes, when it comes to a diamond versus a zirconia, the average person don't know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And if it's sparking, you know what I
It be sparking.
what we got? Let me see what we got in chat. It says, Ms. Pfeiffer says some companies have gotten clever in knockoffs are their own products. You know, because
There's
there's a market for it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a market for it, and so and so but going back to the intellectual property, one of the things that when I started pastoring, someone told me that I should get a letter drafted and have the church sign it because technically, as a pastor, I'm hired by the church, to pastor the church. And so, because my job is the pastor, which means that part of my responsibility is creating sermons for Sunday and lessons for Wednesday and Bible study. And because I'm hired by the church to do that, then that work becomes the church's intellectual property. And so then they said that I needed to have a letter drafted and have the church sign it, stating that every sermon or book or anything that I create within the, you know, capacity of my job title as pastor, um, would be my personal intellectual property, you know. And
Oh wow.
so I did do that, and I did have that done, you know. But I'm saying that intellectual property goes further than just, you know, knockoffs. It goes, you know, it can also be things that you're created,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's sayings, whether it's quotes, whether it's, you know, documentation. Now, some jobs, you know, when you take the job, they have you sign off, letting you know that what everything that you do under your employed by that particular company becomes that company's intellectual property.
Yeah.
Have you heard that, or you understand what I'm saying there?
Yes. I worked for a company that did that.
Okay, and so when we talk about, you know, intellectual property, and you know, the whole idea of patents and trademarks, copyrights, and those kind of things, it can be broader than just, you know, what we think about when we think about knockoffs and things of that sort.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, you know, we say things or we create things and we don't think past what we said or what we created. I remember a true story, and I think that guy, the real estate guy, said this. Robert, was it Robert? Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Robert Kiyosaki.
talked about, either it was him or somebody had created this like a wallet or something, and then they went to a trade show, and the person across from them called the police and had the police come and put, um, I think it was the Robert guy, out of the trade show because um, Robert guy had created this wallet, but this other guy across the table from him, he made a knockoff of his wallet, but because Robert didn't trademark it or pattern or put a copyright on it, the other guy took his property, what he made, and he actually researched and found out that he didn't have a patent or a trademark on it. He put one on it.
Yep.
And so um, he was able to get the original owner who created it to stop selling it and put him out of the trade show because he failed to put a copyright or patent or a trademark on his product. And so it's important to note that even though it may be yours, if you don't trademark it or patent it or copyright it, and somebody else get a hold of it and research and find out that you didn't, and they take your product, your work, and copyright it, patent it, or trademark, then you don't have any legal rights to it.
Yeah.
And so that's very important when it comes to our intellectual property in whatever form, shape, form, and fashion, that we make sure we take the time and copyright it, you know, or trademark it or patent it. All right. Let me see if we got something in the chat. I don't see nothing in the chat there. So we'll just keep on moving on.
Yeah, I do want to say that that is one of the reasons why I'm always. If you ever see my material, if you go to anything that I'm doing or my pictures, you probably gonna see the logo on there, which is the Three Keys logo. Because as you're producing stuff, and even though I'm producing it, even though I'm the CEO and owner of different companies, they all have the same logo. or the same trademark because they're underneath a bigger umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And that bigger umbrella allows me to put that emblem on everything that I'm doing. So in case anything ever happens, I can say, nope, we was part of that. How you know you was part of that? Because this company is underneath this parent company, and that's the emblem, that's the trademark of what we're doing.
Okay.
So
Now I don't want to go back, but I am. You brought up the whole idea of the umbrella,
yeah,
and so personally, I'm working on something right now, and I didn't want to create a bunch of different LLCs. I wanted to create this umbrella. I wanted to create this one name that, let's say, Burns Enterprise,
yeah,
and then I wanted to fold up under Burns Enterprise, Rise and Thrive, and some of the other things that I'm working on.
yeah.
You know, my Overflow Publishing Company and different things, and that all come up under the umbrella of the Rise and Thrive. Would you suggest that I would put LLCs on all of the individual things, or could I put that umbrella Burns Enterprise and fold up under there my Rise and Thrive, my Overflow Publishing, and the other couple things I'm working on right now?
Okay, just so we're tracking your umbrella company, I can only suggest, right? There's just a suggestion that it will be a corporation, not an additional LLC. The reason why I'm suggesting or recommending that is a corporation is because a corporation is nationally and internationally recognized. LLCs are not internationally or nationally recognized to some degree. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as your umbrella corporation, which is considered a parent company,
Mm-hmm.
then underneath that parent company, which is a corporation, now you can have 101 different LLCs. You can have 15 different LLCs. But the reason why you're doing that is because you got a parent company that is recognized internationally and nationally. Now you have your LLCs, which is local or national. And then your LLCs can run Beyond the Wall. Let's give a bunch of LLCs. So you got Beyond the Walls, Racing Pacing, Counseling Service.com. And then we could do the t-shirts. We could do you could do the t-shirts. You and your wife can have a t-shirt, and then you got a ski resort that you like doing. You got an Airbnb that you're also doing. All of that stuff is underneath the parent company. So when you see the 3 keys, that's underneath the parent company. So JOJ Properties LLC is underneath is underneath a bigger corporation. And the reason for that is because JOJ Properties is one of many of the companies in which I own. So I have one trademark for everything. And in that way, I can keep everything in the same loop.
So then, would it be necessary then to have the parent company or corporation, and then each thing that's under the umbrella LLC within themselves?
Not necessarily. So when you start off, for anybody, you can start off a small LLC or a medium LLC. I don't want to make it sound like it's any kind of division. But the reason why I'm saying the LLC is because your LLC is the most easiest and most maneuverable. And as you gain, because you're gaining in years of your LLC, once you have enough money and you have enough backers and you have enough platform, then that's when you bring in your corporation, because now you have 2 different companies or 2 different LLCs. Now you bring it in a parent company that's going to be the bridge so all that money can transfer over and make a lot of movements. The reason why I say it like that is because there are some legal things that must happen, but that's how you can maneuver a lot easier. That's why most of your banks, so you take a bank, any bank, your bank has the bank, and then inside the bank, it has your investments. Inside your bank, you have your mortgages, and these are different companies inside of the bank. So you have your bank, which is a broad term of saying a bank, but your mortgage department is not part of they're part of your bank, but not inside your bank. Your investments is part of your bank, but they're not inside your bank. Your mortgage loan lenders, they're part of your bank, but they're not really in your bank. Your real estate portfolio, that's part of the bank, because if anybody was to foreclose on a property, that bank takes over that property. So even though the real estate portion of the bank is inside the bank, is not really part of the bank, but we say the bank because the bank is an umbrella term. But your investments, your mortgage, your real estate,
Hmm.
the loan, the facilities, all that is underneath the bank. So when I say, "Hey, I'm going to the bank," we believe it's a just a facility, but the bank houses so much more stuff in there.
Okay. All
So if
right.
you was to start it, you start off as a regular company. Hey, um, Pastor Burns, I write books. Boom, that's your LLC. And then you like, well, I'm Pastor Burns, I write books and I do shirts. Well, then now you have two different companies and two different LLCs. Well, you have to be, am I right now? Yeah. Now you got two different companies, two different LLCs. What you want to make is an umbrella to cover all of these spaces, because what it does is puts more liability between you and these companies.
Mhm.
And it has a lot of tax benefits, which are really really good. I like tax benefits. So you got these different companies, and now you got something for your kids. So now you got a company, and then you got Kids Are Us, right? You bringing back Kids Are Us. So now Kids Are Us is another LLC, and one of your kids is running that one. So now you got these three companies, and now you got your grandbabies. Your grandbabies got a company too called Grandbabies Are Us, right? So now you got all these LLCs, but what does they have? Well, let's put a logo. So the partner company puts a logo, and each of the smaller LLCs use that same logo, because that's what I'm doing. If
Okay.
you don't, each company, each LLC can have their own individual logo, and then the parent company can have its logo. But I find it a lot easier to have one logo that everyone attaches to, and then that way, no matter what arena I find myself, I can always use that same logo.
So you have that one logo that they all attach to, even though the businesses that the logo is doing, I mean, the business is doing, the logo will still match.
Yeah, because remember, the parent company has a logo.
Hmm.
The parent company, my parent company has a logo, and all of the subsidiaries are using that same logo because they're all underneath the parent.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's just the way I'm doing it. Other people, you can use multiple, like let's take movies, right? You have different movie companies. So you may have a smaller movie company that's underneath Universal, and Universal is doing a deal with DreamWorks or Pixar, and then they're under the Disney logo. So
Hmm.
there's different entities that are all playing a part. So when you think about who's the parent company, think of the music industry, or think of the music industry or the movie industry. It's a lot of different players that are playing in this field, and because of that, you have people that are at the top, and then you have all these subsidiaries that are also attaching themselves to do a special part.
Okay. All right. Look like our time is getting away from us. We look like we got
Oh,
a little over 10 minutes left. What
sorry
what
about that, y'all.
what all left we wanted to get covered tonight,
Woo.
because we
Okay.
I went back into some of the other things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Setup operations for a beginner. For the beginner, I can't tell you enough. Your one phone. If you have a phone, this is your setup of operations. When I
Okay.
say that, I mean that's the easiest thing. It does all of your marketing. You can get on your phone. You can handle all of your accounts. You can get on your phone. You can actually do real business and contacts communications. Outside of your phone, internet, any laptop communications is really good. For those who have products, use your phone, post products on different media sites. When they say set up a physical location, or arrange a virtual office, I am more inclined to say in the beginning, you want to do a virtual office. In the beginning, you want to not use, if you have to, use your own address, but as you progress, you want to use another area than your home, your home of residence, because your business shouldn't be your same home. Your business could be a PO box, a virtual office, or a storefront, or you can piggyback on another office and just have yourself rent an office, but you want to have another space other than your home of record. And then when it says establish relationships with suppliers, I'm happy to tell you that we went over this in our most recent event called Establishing Your Business Credit. And then we went over all of these relationships that we can establish with different suppliers, vendors, and services. I was just talking to Elder Perry about this, and we are trying to put this together. So that's always growing. I want to give a shout out to Elder Perry out there. He is so he knows that there's a lot of people out here that's doing a lot of good things for the community and for the neighborhood. So we are talking about that, and I want people to come to the next one. The 27th is failing forward. So that's another event that's coming up. Come to the events, do your due diligence, pay the money, take your notebooks, run through the process, and become better. So that's the big thing with set up operations. Next is marketing and sales. Some of these things you don't have to be worried about as much in the beginning, like a COO or PPC advertisement. But you do want to really look into social media marketing. It is very affordable to produce your product and then to advertise it on all the social media platforms. Before you do that, I want you to develop a plan. That in that plan, you got to have a financial budget. How much am I using for the marketing? When I get done marketing, what am I using to retain the people that show interest in what I'm doing? And then once you develop a plan, then you go into the social media marketing. In the beginning, the easiest thing for people to do is to market what they have and to play on the platform that they're using. So if I'm only on YouTube, then let me market to YouTube people. If I'm on SoundCloud, let me market to SoundCloud people, or Vimeo. I think that's another one. Market the Vimeo people. You want to market in the platform that you're using, and you want to stay in the platform that you have the ability to monitor and also to adjust. So don't go out there and do all platforms, and then you can't monitor all platforms because you will look sloppy and it would damage your service and or your product. So start off with one, get one under your belt, then do two, then do three, and then go grow with that one. And then that's how you create sales strategies, and you'll be able to attract more customers and drive better revenue because of the fact that if you're focused on one strategy and you are an expert on that one strategy, you will be able to obtain and retain customers.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. Let's go to the next one, see if we can get in.
Yeah. Launching growth. I think launching is a really big thing. So when you're launching, I am really big on launching. When I say big on launching, if you got a new product, bring publicity to it. Tell your friends, tell your family, hey, I got a brand new product I'm bringing to the table. And then once you do that, bring it. And when I say bring it with all the fanfare, bring it with all the highlights, make sure that it is being promoted. You always want to promote the newest thing that you're doing because people may get used to you always being good. You want to promote, hey, I got something better. Hey, I'm doing this. I'm taking this and now I'm doing this with what I have. And then you always want to monitor your performances. When I say performance, a guy like me, I monitor my customer satisfaction. I do real estate, so I monitor customer satisfaction. I monitor the length of time any resident is vacant. I monitor the length of time it takes for work orders to be started and completed. I monitor all of those things, and I package those in a nice form that everyone can understand. Like I monitor how many evictions I may or may have. I monitor how many people pay outside of the first of the day, the first of the month. I monitor all of these things. So when I come to somebody, I can say, these are my numbers. So if you're doing property management, those are things to start off with. If you're doing sewing, you may want to do how many customers you can retain. If you're doing baking, sales, you want to know how many people you're selling to and things of that nature.
Okay.
because the end point is really good. When you can monetize what you're doing and you can understand how much money you're bringing in and who's bringing in that money, you're better at innovating and adapting to the market, and that will cause you to grow inside that market that you're in. Okay, we got a couple more notes. We got, I believe this is the second to last one. So we have customer service and retention. I can't say this enough that your customers, your consumers are very important people. As a real estate person, I have owners, but the owners are nice, but the tenants are better because the tenants are those consumers. They are the ones living on the property. They are the ones who are paying all the rent. If you have customers in your service or business, remember your tenants or your customers are your consumers. They are the ones that you should listen to. If they come up with good ideas and it's profitable and it's marketable and it can make you more effective, take heed to those ideas. Those will make you more beneficial to not only the that customer, but to other customers and to the neighborhood that you're in. And I think that's the last one. And here we go. So if you're taking notes, you want to do ideal generation and research, market analysis and planning, legal structure and registration, financial planning, brand development, product and service development. You want to set up your operations. You want to market and strategize your sales. You want to launch and grow. And after you do all of that, then I want you to focus on customer service, customer delivery, and retention. Whew, I got all that done.
Yeah, that was quite a bit, but how
That was a lot. That was a lot. Um,
it was good though. It was good info. I was taking some notes and
yeah,
writing down some things here, because I think we want to be able to really see, you know, some
yeah,
type of way of measuring the results, and because we don't want to,
no,
you know, the concept of drinking water out of a fire hose,
yeah,
where we got a lot of information but not knowing how to process it. And so um, I didn't see any questions or anything in our chat, and I'm not sure if we were getting it. I got a few comments, um, but we want to be able to really try to figure out how to you know make sure that we're getting it. So I wrote down a couple different things I want to work on to see if we can a couple QR codes and things where we can begin to get some type of feedback. Um,
yeah,
so as we move forward, that we know that we're headed in the right direction. But this is very helpful information when it comes to really understanding. You know, um, it's not just about taking your name and putting it on a business card and then handing it out saying, "Hey, y'all, I'm in business." But there are some other foundational things that come along with being a business owner and making your business or your brand work. And a lot of times, because we have the idea and we have the passion for it, um, we don't pay a lot of attention to these kind of things. And I heard Pastor Powell say that at some point our passion will run out, and then we'll wake up one day and we won't be having no fun no more. In the beginning, it can be kind of fun, but we'll wake up one day and we're not having as much fun anymore. And so we want to make sure that we find that balance where we're not. We talked about change come in these little increments or small adjustments. We want to make sure that we're not taking everything and then trying to just force it in our head. But even if we take small things that we we hear and say, okay, I can identify with that, and then work on that thing and make the adjustment. Because I think what happens a lot of times when we get too much information at us, then we have a tendency to just stay where we are and not really make improvements, you know.
Yeah.
And so good stuff. Well, we only got about 3 minutes left, and I heard you allude to our upcoming Beyond the Walls Entrepreneur Workshop is on the fourth Saturdays of every month. And I want to say that we got two or three more left. We were doing 6 in total. I think we did 2 in January, February, March. And that's for March, April.
27th. Yeah.
So I think April would make number 5,
Okay.
right? We did
Yeah.
2 in January, February, March. I mean, January 2, February 1, March is 2, and then this one coming up would make number 5, right? James looking
I,
okay.
no, no, no. I know I'm making number 5. I'm like, but I don't think we had 6. I think we only had 5.
No, yeah, I'm saying we're gonna do a total of 6.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yes.
We're gonna do a total of 6, but right now, this month, the fourth Saturday is going to make number 5. And yes, this one is going. All of them is really good. And if you really trying to if you're really interested in building a business, the things that we've shared so far are incredible. The workbooks are incredible, and it's $25. Lunch is included with the $25, and the lunches are good. And you if you're serious about doing business, then this is just a perfect opportunity. So the next one is going to be February, April 27th. April 27th from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. And you can go to my website, dr80burns.com/events. That's dr80burns.com/events. dr80burns.com/events. And you can go there and register. And so our next one is going to be about falling forward, failing forward. And then we're going to be talking about, how to overcome setbacks and how to deal with pitfalls. And a lot of times when you start out doing business, a lot of times business don't go as well as you think it does, or things come up or happen that can kind of throw you for a loop. And so we're going to show you how to get over those things. And I believe I'm going to have my new book ready for the fourth Saturday called Forge. And this book is about my journey of overcoming obstacles and hurdles and setbacks and pitfalls and things of that sort. And it has some great, um, you know, information in there to help you overcome and to forge, yourself forward. So it's going to be one of our giveaways, not to everybody, but to some on the 27th. And we're going to be releasing our new book, James Jones and myself as the co-author, How to Make Six Figures.
Oh
And
yeah.
so he finally got his work in. And yeah, there it is. There the title, the book cover. He finally got his work in, and so how to make six figures. And so it's very interesting. And as I was reading through, his portion, and he's putting the natural, I'm putting the spiritual on it. So uh, it's laced with some biblical principles to support some of the practical. ways that you can, make six figures. And so that's going to be coming out. We're hoping that's going to be, we keep saying each month that's going to be out, but we're really close this time.
Yes, we are close.
And so unless James throw me some more uh, uh, information that he came up with at the last minute, and what he gave me a lot of fill in the blanks that he dropped on me that I got to fill in the blanks. So if I fill in any more of them blanks, I'm gonna switch the names around, and then it's gonna be by Dr. Anthony Burns, and the co-author is gonna be James Joe. So we believe in I'm finalizing everything. So we got the cover all done, and so now I'm working. We finalizing the first draft, and then it's gonna James will look it over again, and then after he give me the thumbs up, it'll go to the editor, and then once it comes from the editor, we'll go through it one more time. Then we'll be ready for the print. All right, Lady B says, looking forward to reading this. Congratulations, Brother James K.M. Jones.
Yes.
Well, you ain't put my name on there. I'm a co-author. But yeah, he getting ready to be the co-author, because he said his part of the book, and it had a lot of fill in the blanks where and so that's what threw it for a loop now. But I told him just give it to me the way he had it. Yeah. So he did just that.
Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for.
Be careful what you ask for.
And so just give me what you got. Yeah. Okay. I give you what I got.
And so that's what he did. So, but it's going to be really good. And so, yes. We're going to be excited about the several months. We're going to take our time and walk through that for several months. And our goal is by the end of this next Rise and Thrive, how to make six figures, that we're going to have some six-figure testimonies. All right. And we're going to have some six-figure testimonies. And so if you're still online, because it's been kind of dormant today, I need you to type in the chat that you're going to be one. Yeah. Say, I'm going to be one. I'm going to be one. And I don't know if it's my phone, because I updated my phone, and I ain't going to call their name out, but they suggested that I updated my phone, and it hasn't worked right since. And so I ain't gonna roll them under the bus. I'm gonna keep working with it, but then they do that so that you can go buy a new phone anyway. So I might just end up going and getting a new phone. All right, we got one in the chat. Minister Simone said, "I'm going to be one." Yeah. Let me see if I can type that in right quick myself. Can I copy and paste hers? Nope.
Yeah. That's what it's about. It's about definitely. It's about being one. We want to make sure everybody having the opportunity to be one. So yeah,
everyone who desire.
Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but everything works out in the end.
I mean, I was saying that to a young man today. I had a meeting. I actually left on my way here from a meeting, and I was over there working on that project, and then I left there, and I had to run to the church for a meeting, several meetings, and then I left there and came to the Rise and Thrive, and I was telling the young man that whatever you do is going to be work. If you could work, you're going to either work a job or work for yourself. But if you're going to be successful, it's going to be some work involved. And there's nothing wrong with a little work. Oh, they coming in now. They coming in. I see y'all. Minister Pfeiffer say she's going to be one. And I don't know why I'm not seeing them all on one, because on one I'm seeing I got two things open, and so I don't see everybody's on there. Lady B, I see Lady B said, I will be one. Deacon Boone, I'm going to be one. Elder Perry, I'm going to be one. And so that's interesting that I don't see it all on one. I have two devices open. But yeah, type that in and say, yes, I'm going to be one. That's going to be your reference point that you'll be able to look back and say, yeah, I said on this day, I'm going to be one. And so it's
Yes.
going to take some work and it's going to take some discipline. And so, listen, we are way out of time, and so on next week, we're gonna begin. We're gonna backtrack a little bit and see if we can get some check-ins so that we can see where people are going to be.
Yeah.
See where people are, and then we want to begin to start doing some pre how to make a million, not a million. We'll do that one next. Um, how to make 100,000. We're gonna
Yes.
do some
Yeah.
pre. We're gonna do some pre how to make 100,000 and start setting you up for making the 100,000. All right. Minister Small said it's Jericho Facebook page and then Rise and Thrive page. Oh, okay, that's what it is. So on this one, I'm on Rise and Thrive, and on this one, I'm on Facebook. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to be conscious of that because I know we got some YouTubers out there
Yeah.
and they have a couple other platforms out there. And so if I didn't call you out and you are one that's going to be one, you're going to make your next 100,000. I want to say congratulations to you in advance. And if you are on one of the other platforms and I didn't get your question or comments, please forgive us. But I believe we would have saw it on the screen, right? If there were some. And so I'm gonna have to be conscious of that we are global. Amen. Well,
Amen.
listen, time is up. Thank you all for tuning in to another Rise and Thrive. And so on next week, join us again on Rise and Thrive here on these platforms, social media platforms, where we begin to look at how to begin to set yourself up for that 100,000. Amen. All right, James, got any closing comments?
Ah, whew. I'll see y'all next week. No, no. So my closing comment is I know I'm giving out a lot of information. So always ask questions. Because just because I'm moving at the speed of light doesn't mean everybody else is moving at the speed of light. So I want to get everybody there. So tell me where you need to be and let's get to where you need to be. So that's my best.
All right, no, that's a good word, and you have to do that. I've learned to do that. That I ask questions, and a lot of times, it's through me asking the questions that I process the information that I'm trying to understand, and then once I do get an understanding of it, to whatever degree it is, I always try to teach it back to somebody else, and that helps solidify it. And so, yeah, you got to ask questions. Don't shut down or turn us off. Just inquire. And yeah, if you get one thing, yes, one, and put it to work, you are much better off than you were when you came before you came on.
Yes, yes.
All right. All right, James, pray us out, and then I'm gonna do my best to leave my hat on. I'm old school. When you start praying, I gotta hat off. Um,
We, we'll do. We'll do.
yeah, I
Let
ain't
us
gonna do it.
close. Let's get ready. God, we thank you for blessing us, for being with us for this day. And as we go forth, let us remember those things that we have taken notes on. And let us pursue with gladness those things to help us not only become financially stable, but also allow us to become more like you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen and amen.
Amen, amen. All right. Well, listen, look forward to seeing you on next week. Rise and thrive. Be blessed.
Yes.